Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. We have a special guest, guys. You can introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I am Zaddy Slays, or Eric. If you don't feel like calling me that, it's all good. I know how it goes. My name is a lot for some people, but I am a gamer slash content creator here on TikTok. I've been doing this for about going on 6 months, or almost at half a year. And it's been such a vibe. It's been awesome. It's been fun. I have met so many amazing people. I have connected with so many amazing families on here, and I started my own. We are Gorilla Gang Gaming, and we have been growing and thriving. It's been so fun and such an amazing ride. So, once again, Abby, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. You ready?
I am ready.
Okay, so why did you choose TikTok and not another platform?
So, as some of y'all may know, there are other platforms to do streaming on. One of them we call Purple, the other one we call Green, for specific purposes on that TikTok does not like us to promote them. Obviously, they are competition. De Luis, I'm sorry, I saw y'all's comment. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Um, Now, I chose this app specifically because of the reach that I feel that it has. I feel that TikTok is not just for gamers, it's not just for live hosts or people who are selling on TikTok Shop. It is for all of us and more. Now, when you go to other apps, you it is specifically for gaming, right? They also have just chatting and stuff like that, but mainly those other apps are just for gaming. Now, I didn't want it to stop there. I didn't want my reach to stop there. Yes, I love reaching out to gamers, but I also love reaching out to y'all, the regular content creators or people who do TikTok shops. So this app's reach is amazing. It's crazy how many people I have reached so far. We just hit 5K followers the day before yesterday. And for those of y'all who don't know, Mercedes, aka Forever Her Energy, her amazing team helped me achieve that goal. They pushed the final followers that we needed, and we hit 5K. So it was awesome. And not only that, now some people have like bot accounts and stuff like that that follow them. I am at 5K genuine people that I have met and connected with, been in their live, supported them in however way I can. And yeah, that's why I chose this app because everybody's on it. You know what I mean? Everybody's doing it. It's kind of like YouTube, and it hasn't gotten over flooded yet. And yes, we've had the banana or whatever that TikTok got for that little issue that it was going on. But we're back now, and supposedly they're supposed to have another one. Who knows? I don't know. From what I've heard, though, it's not going anywhere. Everybody loves using this app. People make a living off of this app. You know what I mean? And so many people would be truly devastated if this app were to go away. So I don't feel like we're going anywhere. I don't feel like it's done with. So for now, we'll just stick on here and we'll keep growing the way that we have been. But that's why I chose this app.
Why did you choose gaming and not like a regular stream of
Okay.
yours?
Um, I do a little bit of both. But I prefer gaming because the the way that it happened was obviously I've always been a gamer. I'm talking about since I was a little boy playing on my Atari, from playing on Atari to Duck Hunt to Sega to Dreamcast to the Nintendo 64. It goes on and on. I have always been a gamer. I've always been into it. On top of that, I have always been competitive. I did play sports all the way up since, I want to say, 7 to 8 years old. We started in Mighty Mites football. We continued going all the way up until high school. I got injured pretty bad, um, to where I couldn't continue doing that. So I was kind of bummed about that because I did put in a lot of work. I did put in a lot of time and effort um, in trying to make myself good in the specific sport that I loved, which was football.
Right.
Um, So because of my competitive nature, because I've always loved gaming, I figured why not put two and two together. And I told wifey, I was like, well, I was like, I'm always doing it anyway. I was like, I might as well meet some cool people. I might as well, try to show people what I can do as far as playing this game.
Do you feel like it has been easy for you or it has been hard?
It has had its challenges. Let's just put it that way. But meeting all y'all amazing people, like I say it every day on my stream, this stream would be nothing without y'all. It would be absolutely nothing without the people that make it what it is, which is the fans. And because I have met, and speaking of the very first person that I connected with on TikTok, Mr. Robbie FS right there, um, I have met him and I have met so many people through him and Eve and connected with so many of y'all that y'all make, like, I can't, like, it's very hard to go a day without being with y'all. You know what I mean? Like, granted, I have to take my little breaks. I am a father of three. I got a big family. You know what I mean? I am also a husband. Y'all all know wifey. Um, so it has definitely had its challenges, but it's been such a vibe. It's been such a vibe. Canceled. And I appreciate you, King. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. But I was um I was explaining to Mal earlier because I have kind of been getting discouraged when it comes to using TikTok. Because of the game that I play and because of the content that it's a war game. TikTok doesn't really push my live out anymore. And I have noticed that some people have been telling me that they don't even see the red ring around my profile pic to show them that I'm live, which kind of bums me out. You know what I mean? So it's been really slow. It's been really slow. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have all my followers, the people that follow me, my, all my, how do I say it? My dailies, I guess, the daily people that always tune in. Yeah. But as far as touching that FYP, that spike to where I can have like 50, 60 people, like I see other gamers do, it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So I get a little bummed because it's not just as simple. Being a content creator or being a gamer, a streamer, it's not just as simple as clicking a button. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's marketing that you have to do. I post videos of the gifts that I've been blessed with. I post and edit videos of my gameplay now. That takes hours. Sometimes, right, 4 to 5 hours if you don't find the right program to use to make those clips. You know what I mean? And then there's also sharing it out to everybody. And there's a lot of promotion that comes along with it than versus just going and clicking go live. You know what I mean? It's not that simple. But I do enjoy what I do. I have had a good time, but it's definitely.
Why did you choose that game specifically when there's more out there?
So Call of Duty specifically because that is the one game that's going around where everybody's like, I don't mess with it. It's such a trash game. There's nothing but hackers, which is true. I mean, but every game has their hackers. It's not just Call of Duty. But because it's such a competitive game and there's so many people that have been playing it for so long that it's really good, I like the competition. I am a competitive person. And I still catch dubs. A lot of y'all have witnessed that. You know what I mean? It's not impossible. The game itself is not impossible. It's just something that, like anything in life, it's repetition. Mm-hmm. The more you practice, the better you get.
Correct.
Now, as far as other games, yes, there is other things that I do want to try. It's just hard for me because I'm so used to the go, the real fast pace that is Call of Duty. You know what I mean? But we'll find something else to play and we'll probably stream something else. But as of right now, that's just my game.
Do you feel like at the beginning it was hard to juggle your family stuff and your gaming stuff?
Yes, and wifey and I would get into arguments about it. Not gonna lie, until we communicated with one another and we created my schedule that we've been following already for about 3 months now. That schedule was probably the best thing that we could have did because it separates the two. It separates my real life
Mm-hmm.
from my streaming life. Now, creating that schedule, which a lot of y'all know, I go live every morning from 7:30 Central to 10:30 um, in the morning. Sometimes I stay on a little later, but I do it at that time because my kids are asleep, wifey's asleep. You know what I mean? I get to focus on what I'm doing without, I don't like calling my kids distractions because they're not. I love my babies, but at the same time, so I can focus on y'all. Y'all are the reason that I do it, so y'all deserve my attention, 100% of my attention.
Right. And what advice would you give new new gaming that want to come into the gaming
For
world?
for people who are just starting out, the key is consistency. Consistency is key. But you cannot just go on every day and expect to hit those followers all the time. You got to actually put in the work. You got to go to different people's lives. You got to show them support, make connections so that way they can do it back to you. And
Right.
not everybody will. You know what I mean? Not everybody will. They just don't mess with the vibe. It is what it is. But
Mm-hmm.
you continue doing that. But posting content before you go live is so important because just like having a business, you can open up a shop somewhere, but if you're not doing no marketing, you're not you're not gonna get no motion.
And how do you feel about the people who don't give you the same support back?
I don't pay attention to it because I don't it doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? Support's gonna come in ways that it comes, and support comes in many different ways. But it's not as I don't go to people's lives expecting them to come into mine. And that's where I feel that exactly, Robbie, zero expectation. It's a lot of people make it about this app, and I don't know how they stay in A leagues. You know what I mean? Being so toxic the way they are, maybe some people just like it. I don't know. But I don't expect anything in return. And I've said this before, and a lot of y'all know, I have not made one penny off of this app. Everything that I have gotten has been recycled, recharged, and put back into the community. Whether it was the same person who blessed me or it was just me scrolling and finding new streamers slash live hosts, content creators, and blessing them because they just needed that smile. They needed that push. Um, but there is a lot of toxicity that comes with this app. And I got on this app for one reason. That was just to spread love and joy and happiness. And I feel like everybody should feel the way that I feel every time I go live. And the fact that I just haven't been able to reach that many people, that's the only thing that's hurting me as a streamer right now.
Right. How long have you been on the app?
Going on 6 months. This month will actually be our 6 month mark.
And how do you feel about the community you have built?
Oh, it's that's nothing shy of saying that y'all are amazing. Y'all are absolutely amazing. Now, don't get me wrong, we have weeded out a few bad seeds, but in the end, we have continued to connect with one another. I've met only one person from the app so far, which was Jazzy. She came to Texas. We met her family. It's a family, 100%, 100%. And a lot of y'all know my best friend. I got him on this app. I got him streaming, and we've met so many new people, so many amazing people, and we weeded out a lot of the bad ones. Now I want to continue doing that because we a lot of people deserve to find somebody that they can connect with on this app. You know what I mean? They deserve to find a family like ours.
Right. Okay. You ready for the topic of the night?
I am ready.
Okay. I'm gonna read you guys something that was sent to me. It says in 2023, only 17% of men in the United States received mental health treatment or counseling in the past year. Since it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, we are going to talk about men's mental health. So let's start with, do you believe in therapy?
Yes, I do.
And why?
Because it's always not just because they have a degree in, men in psychology,
Right.
the mind itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I now in my marriage we struggled. The first 3 years were really hard for me and wifey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not so much her. It was more your boy, right? I'm gonna be real.
Right.
I was very toxic, very poisonous in the beginning of this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was not ready to give up on that. A lot of thank you, Mama. A lot of people where we're from, marriage is a joke. Marriage is something that doesn't last. There are very few couples that have stayed together through many years. But as far as um, friends of ours,
Right.
there's a solid maybe five. You know what I mean? So um, I wasn't ready to give this up. I didn't want to call it quits between me and wifey. So she recommended marriage counseling. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I said, you know what? Fine, let's do it. Let's do it. You know what I mean? We obviously need some help. We're both new to this. This is our first marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So we met and we went and we met this amazing counselor. Her name was Gloria. She's now retired, but she was so easy to talk to. And it wasn't like the type that were just like, oh, she's siding with wifey or oh, she's siding with me. No, it would go back and forth and it was be like, well, look, this is how he feels and why, or this is how she feels and why. It's always good to get that third person who can see both sides. There's very few people in the world, and this is why they have a degree in what they do, to be able to do what they do, to help get you right here. You start thinking about other people and how they feel and put yourself in their shoes,
Mm-hmm.
it helps so much. So much. And as far as, men who suffer from, you know, from mental health, like they don't always have that person to talk to, or they don't have the confidence to go and speak to somebody because they just feel like there's nobody that can feel the way that I feel.
Right.
And talking won't help. And when it gets to that point, it's really by the grace of God to where they need to turn to some other type of voice, some other type of help. Um,
How did you feel when she suggested it at first, though? Were you okay with it, or you were like hesitant?
I was a little. I was like, it's probably not gonna work. But I was at the same time, I didn't want to lose her. I
Right.
didn't want to lose her, so I was like, what the hell? What's the point in giving it a shot? Like if this could possibly save my marriage,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, I'm willing to try it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people like they're afraid to end something because they don't want to be labeled the bad guy
Like in the cycle?
in the relationship itself, or when it comes to relationship like that, yeah, they don't want to be put on that label. But I was not ready to do that. So seeking help is not a bad thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always going to be somebody, a new face that just gives you that comfort. That I'm talking to somebody who can actually relate to what I'm going through. So for anybody that is suffering out there from, mental health, don't be afraid to call somebody. Don't be afraid to get help because it's not a fluke. You know what I mean? It's a legitimate science. It's something that they see that's going on in your head to where you're asking yourself why. They
Mm-hmm.
they sometimes have the answer.
What advice would you give other men just in about mental health?
Just talk, talk to somebody. You may think it's not going to help. I have I have been put through the ringer at such a young age. I have seen so much loss in my life to where I was the person that was like, what is talking going to do? What is that going to do for me? It's not going to do anything. It's not going to solve no problems. I was wrong. I was wrong. It helps. It helps because you're a stick in the mud when you're going through something like this, when you're suffering from something mental like this. You're a stick in the mud and you feel like nothing can pull you out.
Right. So you're telling me men don't talk to other men like women do, like, oh, this is bugging me, or
Some don't. Some
you
some
know.
some will see it as a sign of showing weakness with one another. I have my boys to where I've cried in their arms about the shit that I experienced.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And there ain't fucking nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, it's like that movie Inside Out. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to feel sad. You got to let it out, to feel sad in order to feel happy again. You know what I mean? In the end, Joy realized that Riley needed sadness. You know what I mean? Needed sadness in order to start feeling joy again. And it's there's nothing if they're your boys, if they are your boys like they say that they are, they're gonna be there for you and to help you get out of the shit. They might joke around, you know what I mean, stuff like that, like when you're not suffering from something like this. But when it comes down to being serious, they'd rather have you here than to not have you here. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, damn, I should have just talked to him. I shouldn't have been an asshole. I shouldn't have did this. Sorry, excuse my language. I know. I don't even know if we're on 18 plus, but um, I guarantee you, they would rather have you talk to them and been real with them and shown and put your wall down, so that way they're like, yo, I'm gonna help this person.
Yeah.
Now, I have lost a lot of friends who were in the military, who suffered from PTSD, who didn't reach out. You know what I mean? And it's not a good feeling because you're constantly asking yourself why.
Do you
What
feel like other men should ask each other, act like genuinely ask each other how they actually are doing?
Yeah, 100%. I do it with the person that's right there in the chat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how you doing? How's your mental? What's going on? And then yeah, when we get the serious shit aside, yeah, we're bullshitting. We're talking our ish. You know what
How
I
do
mean?
you feel about, or what do you do when something is just mentally draining for you and you're like, I can't do this? Do you like get angry, or you figure out a way, like, to just
I
leave?
I have the mentality that I can't stop.
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep going. Whether me, I like to think as of it as my guardian angels. My grandfather was he had the best work ethic I ever and anybody that I have ever known. You know what I mean? My own father, yes, my own father has always been a supporter and constantly working. But my grandfather has been on him by himself on his own since he was 8 years old. He made his way from Mexico all the way up to Idaho at 8 years old by himself. Worked the fields, then became a truck driver, met my grandmother. They started a family. He continued truck driving, and then he owned his own business for 55 years until he passed. Supporting all of us, me included, because I was raised by them,
Right.
not my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that, I feel like he gives me that same mentality. Like, we got to keep going. We got to keep pushing. We got to keep working. We got to keep trying. Quitting is not an option. Robbie, thank you, brother. I
In
appreciate
the
it.
chat, they said, "We'll get it done and cry about it later." But do
That's
you
right.
actually cry about it later, or do
I
you then
do
just?
by myself, behind closed doors. But when I'm taking a shower, whenever I see that I'm by myself, yeah, I will let that shit out. I will. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna front. I'm tough. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you gotta let that shit out. Otherwise, you're gonna die from the inside.
Right.
You got to be strong here. You got to be strong here before you can be strong in the world out there with everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um. How do you help? You said you have 3 kids. How do you help your wife with her mental health? Because she is a stay-at-home mom, correct?
Yes, she is. And in doing that, I say it all the time. Shout out to all the stay-at-home mamas out there. This is a job that does not stop. It is 365, 24/7, and you don't get paid. So
So how do you help her with her mental health?
I talk to her. constantly. Whenever she's feeling overwhelmed, even if I'm on, I've y'all seen this too. If it's midstream and the kids are just being too much, I will shut that shit down and go and help. But just constant communication, validating her feelings, letting her know that, look, I know today was a rough day. I know these kids were crazy. I know it was, a little out of control, but it's okay now. We're going to get through this together. We're going to keep it going. And, they got to fall asleep sometime. they got to they got to go to sleep sometime.
Do you
Um
feel like she helps you with your mental health?
100%. The woman right here in this chat, Zaddy's wifey, saved my life. I in the road and everything that I was going on, the direction that I was going, with the people that I was around, I would have either been dead or in jail at the age of 21, which was right when I met her. Um, so yeah, 100%. I had the biggest wall in the world, the freaking Great Wall of China up when I met wifey. Like I was an impenetrable shield until she straight up Godzilla that shit. She
Right.
brought those walls coming down like the fucking walls of Jericho. And I then realized that keeping everything in it's not it. It doesn't make you stronger. If anything, like I said, it kills you from the inside. It takes away your energy. It takes away your your mental strength. You know what I mean? And the one thing that I've always told myself is, yeah, we got, it may be bad now, but there's somebody out there that definitely has it worse.
That's true.
You know what I mean? But she has helped me so much in communication and validating the feelings that I feel, but not just my feelings,
Hmm.
also validate her feelings as well and put myself in her shoes or see things through her eyes, not
Right.
just my own. And because we've done that, and also shout out to our counselor too for helping us see that, we're stronger than ever. You know what I mean? We're not a statistic like the way like most people our age are. We're not. We're the type of people that said, hey, like we're gonna grow old together. We're gonna be on that porch. Like let's find somebody else who can be on that porch with us.
Right. What advice would you give not only the men but the women in the chat?
Talk, let it out. Don't keep it in. And like I said, if you think you got it bad, there's somebody out there that definitely has it worse than you do.
Right.
I don't know if y'all have seen that movie Straw yet on Netflix.
No, not yet.
We watched it last night. Talk about things that'll give you flashbacks if you had it rough
Hmm.
like that. It gave me PTSD so bad, it was crazy. Yes.
Women,
Daddy
what?
said, stop playing mental gymnastics with men. Say what you mean. Yes and no. Yes and no. You know what I mean, Daddy? It's sometimes. I mean, yes, we're not mind readers. We're not,
Yes.
but you got to communicate with one another and just say what you mean. You know what I mean? Because not everybody can pick it up like that.
Well, it's because sometimes you guys make us mad, and then that's when we make you guys guess.
No, I get it. I get it. But we're not perfect by any means. You know what I mean? And just like some men who want to play Captain Save a, women are the same way. Oh, I can fix him. I can make him better. I can help him. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think you can never make a person better if they don't want to be better. You can
Exactly.
fix a person that doesn't want to be fixed.
Facts.
So it goes both ways for a woman and a man. Mentally, that's gonna end up draining
But
you.
but then again, that becomes to, are they really men and women, or are they little kids trying to play to be men and women? A real man and a real woman will know when it's just not working out, and they will call it quits. It's called a clean break. You know what I mean? If the communication is not communicating,
They're talking to you in the chat though.
sometimes sharing our feels turns into a disagreement. So I so feel like we withhold a lot. Okay, that's when it comes down to the man being able to see things through one another's eyes. You know what I mean? Because y'all do take shots. Y'all spit venom in y'all's words, and y'all do it so well. You know what I mean? Y'all do it so well, and y'all get us to trip over ourselves. But this is just me. But at the same time, you got to take a step back, go into another room, collect your thoughts, and then revisit.
It says it's not just communication, it's understanding.
Facts. I agree, 100%. But that's also letting the man get his thoughts together instead of trying to go. Hey, I want to resolve this. I want to resolve this. I want to get to a conclusion. Let him gather his thoughts. We are not as emotional creatures as y'all are. We're not. I'm sorry to say it. Like if you want that, then hey, go with the LGBTQ that shit. But we are not as emotional as y'all.
Right.
And believe me, we want to be. We want to be, but there's just that chemical that's not there. You know what I
Do you
mean?
feel like it's maybe because men were raised as you have to be strong, you can never break?
Yes and no. But is that a bad thing? Because if you deal with the everyday things that this life throws at you, and believe me, chat, it throws some shit at you. This life does. You know what I mean? Versus to just going and expecting somebody to go and do what they do with a smile on their face every day. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? I'm a firm believer in if you do what you love, you'll never work another day in your life. But not everybody can do what they love.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the chat also said you're not responsible for everybody's happiness. It's just therapy pretty much. Yeah, and that's true. Like mentally we have to be prepared and know that we are not here to make everybody happy. You're not here to make everybody like you. And you're not here for everybody else. You're here for yourself. And you always have to think about yourself first before the rest of it.
Because, like I said before, if you're not strong here or here in yourself, how can you expect to help somebody else?
Right.
You can't. You can't. You got to be mentally strong, and it got to come from a good place. You have to have a good heart in order to help somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I have helped a lot of people. A lot of people have helped me, but I cannot do it if I'm just not in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't work that way. And then the same thing goes for relationships. You know what I mean? How can you love somebody if you don't even love yourself?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? How can you expect to pour into somebody else's cup when your cup's empty? You can't. You absolutely can't. You cannot fill an empty cup. Exactly. You're pouring air on air.
Right. How do you feel about men having their own self-care time?
It's important, but include that shit when you take your shower. You know what I mean? I have mine. Mine is in the morning from 7:30 to 10:30.
Right.
That is how I decompress, and that's why I don't want to change the game that I play, because I love the game that I play. You know what I mean? Yours is your stream. Exactly. It is important. It is important. And I wish that the person that's yelling at me in the chat right now would have her own thing. You know what I mean? Her own hobby. And I tell her I would 100% support that.
Right.
You know, she tried it with her clay and stuff like that. I'm not yelling. She tried it with her modeling clay. She tried it with her coloring books. The kids got into it and messed it all up, and I felt so bad. I felt so bad because I kept going in there trying to keep them off. You know what I mean? But there's, at the same time, they go in there when I'm in there, when I'm trying to do my thing too. So I'm doing everything, and the hostility is not there. Calm down. calm yourself, wifey.
Right.
Um, but no, it's so important. You know, taking care of yourself, taking that time, that you know, that time to yourself is so important because there's only so much that somebody can take. You know what I mean? Like I said, I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders more than once at the age of 31, and I have yet to experience. We've only touched the surface on what this life has to throw at me. But I have learned with communication, taking a deep breath, talking to somebody, letting it out to someone, anybody who's willing to listen. It recharges me. It recharges my soul, and I can continue dealing with the daily things, you know, the daily struggles of life or whatever, and continue fighting the fight. You know what I mean? Fighting the good fight. That's but you got to take care of yourself first.
Yeah, I feel like we all learn how to communicate differently, or at different stages of our lives. Because I didn't learn how to communicate until I met my boyfriend, and he'll be like, "Oh, well, talk to me about it," and I'm like, "I don't want to talk to you about it. Like,
Hmm.
I don't want to talk to you." And then, um, instead of fighting, he would like talk to me. Like he'll tell me like, "I don't like this, and that," and I'll be like, "Okay." It was hard,
Yeah.
and it kind of still is hard because I feel like I was never used to the communication. I was always used to the yelling and the fighting, and then when he just doesn't react or anything, I'm like, okay, well, I
So
guess.
there. This is a little quote that I have learned and I've taught myself, and wifey can agree with this. There's a difference between talking to somebody and talking at somebody. There is a huge difference. And when you get to the point to where you're talking with somebody, that's what recharges you. It's hard to communicate effectively when you were modeled
Conflict.
conflict. That's my experience. Yeah, believe me, my parents weren't even together. They weren't even boyfriend and girlfriend when they had me. You know what I mean? And they couldn't stand each other.
Oh
So
wow.
know about conflict. It was and then my mom, when she met my brother's dad, used to get abused as you know, bad, like beat down, beat down to where I had to hide my brother in the closet and go after him with the bat at the age of 7 years old to protect my mom. So yeah, I grew up around conflict my whole life. I grew up in a neighborhood to where if you wore the wrong thing, you're done. You know what I mean?
But do you feel like all that affected you mentally?
Yeah, yeah. When you're growing up fighting like that, you feel like all you can do is fight. But no, there's another way. I got shown another way, and I got blessed with the person to show me another way. You know what I mean? There's people in my life to where I know if I got something going on, you know, it's not just wifey, or even if it's stuff between me and wifey, I got people that I can talk to. But I, by opening up the way that I did to these people, I made that connection. I made those relationships to where, because there's a lot of people who's like, oh, well, I don't have that. Then open up and find somebody because there's somebody out there who's willing to help. And if
Right.
not, fucking call me. Call me. I'm so good at talking and yapping. I will make you feel like you have known me since we were in kindergarten. I promise.
It's so important to have a solid relationship to uplift and edify you.
Edify you. Facts, Drea. Facts. But y'all don't have to, because y'all grew up rough, because y'all grew up around fighting, that does not mean you have to repeat the same cycle. Break the cycle. Break
Right.
the wheel. Don't be a statistic. Be something else. And if you really want to be happy, then just be happy. It's not that hard. But you gotta let down the walls. You gotta open up. You have to do it. I love you too, man. I do. I'm
Also,
sorry.
sometimes you have
I'm
to
sorry. I get really passionate when I speak about this, but
the
it's
listeners so that you can understand and hear. Yeah, that's true. It's hard to even listen when you already want to start arguing with the person, but then you have to tell yourself, "We're talking. This is not an argument." You know.
Yeah. And believe me, a lot of our time, me and wifey still do it from time to time to where our talking turns into arguments. We're not perfect, but
Right.
we're ain't nobody perfect. But at the same time, do I want to be perfect for her? Does she want to be perfect for me? Fuck yeah. We got three little lives here that didn't ask to be here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just like I've said, I never asked to be born. I didn't ask for this. But hey, now that I'm here, we might as well make it a party. We might as well be happy. You know what I mean? Why be miserable?
Yeah. All right. Well, what's the last piece of advice you give everybody before we close this out?
Before we close this out, yo, the one thing that I want to say is continue being genuine, continue being loving, continue being kind, and it's going to come back. Whether y'all are religious or not and believe in, the big man up there, something somewhere, whether it's karma, whether, I don't know what other religions that are out there, whatever it is that you believe in, it's still going to come back to you one way or another. Continue being kind, genuine, loving souls that y'all are, and some on the app claim to be. Continue, just continue doing that. Continue loving. There's so much hate in this world. Why are y'all going to add to it? You know what I mean? Why
Right.
add to it when you can just make somebody's day? You can make somebody smile. You can be somebody's shoulder to cry on. You can be somebody's ear. You know what I mean? Why make somebody frown and cry when you can make somebody laugh and smile?
I agree with
And
that.
and with that, that's what I'll leave y'all with. And once again, Abby, thank you so much. You've been an amazing, amazing freaking host. I know this podcast is gonna go good. I know you're gonna continue shining and being amazing. I have all the faith in you, and I had such a good time. And once again, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. I will be posting this, so be ready.
I'm ready. I'll like, comment, share, add it to my favorites.
Thanks.
I love all of y'all too. And like I said, all of y'all continue being kind. That's right. There's so much evil out there. We need this. So let's continue building it. Let's
Correct.
continue making this a safe space, a fun space for other people. And let's continue spreading love and kindness on this toxic app.
Yes. And then next week we have another amazing guest. We will have Roberto coming on, and we're still to choose the topic of the night. Remember, guys, your mental health matters. Doesn't matter if you're a woman or you're a man. Your kids' mental health matters too. Take care of yourselves. Yes, this is a podcast I was telling you about the um, take care of yourselves and always seek for help.
Always. And don't ever stop. All right. I did the damn bucket challenge for y'all and it was cold. Good talk, bro. I love you, Robbie. I love you, Twinsy. Drea, everybody else who's tuned in. Let's go down the line real quick before I get off.
Go for it.
Robert, Mal, Drea, Eve, Tanya, Isabel, Wifey, BFF, Miss Moody Mama, Delicious Sweets, Jess, Twinsy, Irene, myself, Jay Blaze, and Cassie. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to Tiny Bit Spicy. It has been such a vibe. I have loved it so much being up here and talking to y'all. I am going to drop now. We're going to let Abby talk to us for a little bit. And I got to go find out where Wifey Mama is. So I love y'all so much. Continue shining and being amazing. This was amazing. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your heart. 100%. I wear that thing on my sleeve. It's not hard to see my heart anymore. I opened up. So I love y'all and I'll talk to y'all later.
Bye, Sadie.
Bye.